Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm 32 years old and have always been known for my organized and practical nature. As a financial analyst at a well-known firm, I take pride in my precision. My friends often joke about how I have spreadsheets for everything, even for grocery shopping. But I believe staying in control keeps life manageable. Let me tell you how I met my husband, David. We crossed paths at a corporate networking event. I wasn't planning to attend, but my best friend convinced me at the last minute. The venue was buzzing with chatter and clinking glasses. I remember standing near the appetizers, scanning the crowd when I noticed him. A tall, confident man with an easy smile. "Hi, I'm David. Mind if I join you?" he asked, holding a drink and gesturing toward the empty space next to me. "Sure, I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you," I replied with a polite smile. We talked for hours, realizing how much we had in common. David was a marketing strategist with a knack for storytelling. He shared my love for jazz music and late-night drives. By the end of the evening, I felt a connection I hadn't experienced in years. A few weeks later, David asked me out on an official date, and things took off from there. Our relationship blossomed quickly. David was attentive, charming, and full of surprises. One evening, he took me to a cozy little jazz club hidden in the heart of the city. It became our favorite spot, a haven where we could unwind and enjoy the music. 6 months into dating, he proposed during one of our visits there. It was intimate, heartfelt, and perfect. Our wedding was beautiful, but not without its challenges. David's older sister, Emma, brought her 3 energetic children. While I had nothing against kids, I wasn't prepared for the chaos they brought. During the ceremony, they spilled juice on the aisle and disrupted the speeches with their shouting. David found it amusing and brushed it off. "They're just kids, Sarah. Let them enjoy," he said with a laugh. I forced a smile, hoping it wouldn't become a recurring theme. After the wedding, David and I moved into a cozy apartment. Life was good, but small cracks began to show. David's laid-back attitude, which I once admired, started to frustrate me. He'd leave dishes in the sink for days, forget important dates, and dismiss my concerns as overreactions. One evening, after a long day at work, I came home to find the apartment in disarray. "David, can you please clean up? I'm exhausted," I said, trying to stay calm. "Relax, Sarah. It's just a bit of mess. We'll handle it tomorrow," he replied, not even looking up from his phone. Over time, these small disagreements snowballed. To make matters worse, Emma started visiting more frequently with her kids. Our once peaceful home turned into a circus whenever they were around. The kids would climb on furniture, spill food, and leave toys everywhere. Emma rarely disciplined them, and David's response was always the same. "They're just kids, Sarah. Lighten up." One weekend, Emma showed up unannounced. "I need a break. Mind watching the kids for a few hours?" she asked, already stepping inside. Before I could respond, she was out the door. The kids immediately started wreaking havoc. I tried to keep my composure, but when they shattered a decorative vase my grandmother had gifted me, I lost it. "David, do something!" I yelled. He shrugged, saying, "It's just a vase, Sarah. Let it go." That moment was a turning point for me. I realized I was constantly compromising my peace for people who didn't seem to care about my feelings. I decided it was time to set boundaries. "David, we need to talk," I said one evening. "I can't keep living like this. We need to find a balance." He promised to make changes, but his actions rarely matched his words. A few months later, things escalated. Emma's husband filed for divorce and she needed a place to stay. Without consulting me, David invited her and the kids to move in temporarily. "It's just for a few months," he assured me. But I knew better. "David, our home is already chaotic when they visit. How are we supposed to manage this full time?" I asked, exasperated. "They're family, Sarah. We have to help," he replied firmly. The day Emma moved in, I felt my sanctuary slipping away. Our apartment became a battleground of noise and clutter. Emma treated our home like her own, making decisions without consulting me. Her kids' behavior only worsened, and my patience wore thin. One evening, as I cleaned up yet another mess, Emma casually mentioned, "Oh, by the way, I'm borrowing your car tomorrow." "Excuse me?" I asked, stunned. "David said it's fine," she replied dismissively. When I confronted David, he said, "She's going through a tough time. Let her use the car." I couldn't believe it. My needs and boundaries were constantly being overlooked. One night, after a particularly chaotic day, I sat alone in our bedroom, overwhelmed and defeated. I thought about everything I had sacrificed for this relationship and what I had received in return. The answer was clear. I deserved better. The next morning, I made a decision. While David and Emma were out, I packed my essentials and left. I moved in with my best friend Lisa, who welcomed me with open arms. "You're doing the right thing, Sarah. You need to take care of yourself," she said, offering me a cup of tea. Over the next few weeks, I focused on rebuilding my life. I found a small apartment downtown and started decorating it to make it feel like home. It was a fresh start, and for the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. David tried reaching out multiple times, but I ignored his calls. One evening, he showed up at my doorstep, looking remorseful. "Sarah, I'm sorry. I realize now how much I've hurt you." "Can we start over?" he pleaded. I looked at him, my heart heavy with a mix of sadness and resolve. "David, I've given this a lot of thought. I need a life where I feel valued and respected. I don't think we can provide that for each other anymore," I said firmly. He nodded, tears in his eyes. "I understand. I just wish I had realized it sooner," he said before walking away. As I closed the door, I felt a sense of closure. It was painful, but necessary. Months passed, and I found myself thriving in my new life. I reconnected with old friends, took up painting, and even adopted a rescue dog named Max. My small apartment became a sanctuary, filled with peace and positivity. Looking back, I realized that leaving David was the best decision I could have made. One afternoon, as I walked Max in the park, I bumped into Emma. She looked exhausted, juggling groceries and her kids. "Hi, Sarah," she said, her voice strained. "Hi, Emma. How are you?" I asked politely. "It's been tough," she admitted. "David's working 2 jobs now to support us, and I'm trying to find a job myself." I nodded, feeling a twinge of sympathy but no regret. Our paths had diverged, and I was at peace with my decision. Later that evening, I sat on my balcony with Max by my side, reflecting on how far I had come. The city lights sparkled in the distance, and for the first time in years, I felt truly free. I wasn't just surviving, I was living, and I knew, deep down, that the best was yet to come. In the months that followed, I set new goals for myself. I took a photography class, something I'd always wanted to try. The process of capturing moments and turning them into art was therapeutic. I also joined a book club, where I met a group of like-minded people who quickly became friends. One of my favorite moments during this time was participating in a local art fair. I displayed some of my photographs and was surprised by the positive feedback I received. A couple even bought a print, which felt like a huge accomplishment. This is just the beginning, I told myself. Through these experiences, I learned the value of investing in myself. I realized that my worth wasn't tied to anyone else's validation. By focusing on my passions and surrounding myself with supportive people, I built a life that felt authentic and fulfilling. One evening, Lisa and I were catching up over dinner. "You know, Sarah, I've never seen you this happy. You're glowing," she said, raising her glass in a toast. "Here's to new beginnings." I smiled, clinking my glass with hers. "To new beginnings," I echoed, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. It had been a long journey, but I finally felt at home in my own skin. And for the first time in a long time, I was excited about the future.